During a fishing trip, a man spots a mama bear walking towards him with a cub in her teeth. He is scared to see her approach, but then she nudges her baby towards him, begging him to save it. Over the next few days, something shocking happens as he fishes by his favorite spot in the forest. Lucas suddenly spots a dark figure approaching him from the riverbank's edge. His heart skips a beat when he realizes it isn't a person, but a large brown bear. Lucas squints, trying to make sense of the scene before him, and his breath hitches as he recognizes the tiny, limp form of a bear cub held between her teeth. The cub is in distress, its little sides heaving weakly. Lucas's first instinct is to retreat. Bears are common in the area, but they usually keep their distance. This close encounter is unlike anything he has experienced. He knows that there is no place in the world more dangerous than between a mother bear and her cub, and he wisely retreats. Yet, as he takes a cautious step back, the bear does something astonishing. She makes no move to attack or defend. Instead, her large dark eyes meet his, filled with an unmistakable plea for help. Lucas freezes. Is this bear truly begging him to help her cub? No, it couldn't be. Bears rarely interact with humans, and they usually retreat when they're wounded. And yet here she is, whimpering softly. The massive bear gently places a dying cub on the forest floor, nudging it towards Lucas with her nose. When she sees him hesitate, she sits back and waits. Lucas realizes that the big bear is trying to appear as unthreatening as possible. His fear is quickly replaced by a sense of awe and then urgency. He has no experience with bear cubs or how to help one, but he knows he can't turn his back on this Jew, not after they've put so much trust in him. He remembers an old, unused shed behind his cabin that stores a basic first aid kit and some old blankets. Without a second thought, Lucas signals to the mama bear with a calm, gentle voice, trying to convey his intention to help. Surprisingly, the bear seems to understand. She steps back, allowing Lucas to scoot the cub into his arms gently. The little creature is so frail, so delicate, that it stirs something protective in Lucas. He rushes to his cabin, the mama bear following at a distance, her presence a silent watch over her cub. Inside, Lucas lays the cub on a soft blanket and examines it as best he can. There are no visible injuries, but the cub is clearly suffering. Lucas cleans its body with warm water, trying to stimulate a reaction, but nothing happens that could make him understand what's going on with the little bear. Realizing the situation is beyond his capabilities, Lucas's thoughts race for a solution. Then it hits him. Dr. Amelia Hayes, a wildlife veterinarian he had met a few years back during a local conservation meeting. She might be their only hope. Lucas finds her number on a faded conservation flyer pinned to his fridge. His fingers cross as he dials, hoping she will answer. When she does, he suddenly realizes his story might sound a little too crazy for her to believe. But he has to try anyway. Dr. Hayes, it's Lucas Miller, he says, hoping she'll remember him. I have a bear cub here. It's in bad shape, and its mother brought it to me. I think it needs immediate care. Can you come? Lucas' voice is steady, but the gravity of the situation weighs heavily on him. He hopes that she will believe him and not think him a lunatic. But he knows that if a friend ever called him with the same request, he would immediately think of a prank. There is a brief silence on the line, and Lucas fears that the veterinarian will hang up. In her place, he probably would have. But then Dr. Hayes' calm, confident voice fills the room. Keep the cub warm. It will take me about an hour to get there. As Lucas ends the call, he glances outside. The mama bear is still there, their gaze fixed on the cabin. In that moment, he feels an unspoken bond form between them, a mutual understanding and a shared concern for the cub's fate. He returns to the little bear's side, watching its small chest rise and fall. Dr. Hayes arrives with more strength than before. Lucas allows himself a small smile, hope kindling within him. Perhaps with Dr. Hayes' help, they can save this cub. For now, all he can do is wait and provide warmth and comfort to the little life that fate has unexpectedly placed in his hands. The hour stretches endlessly before Dr. Amelia Hayes finally arrives, her arrival heralded by the crunch of gravel under tires. Lucas hurries to meet her, his heart caught between hope and dread. With her gear in tow, Dr. Hayes wastes no time, her professional gaze quickly assessing the scene before her. The cub, now wrapped in a warm blanket, seems to have gathered a bit of strength, but its condition is far from stable. Dr. Hayes' examination is thorough, her hands gentle yet efficient, as she listens to the little bear's heartbeat, checks its gums, and feels for any hidden injuries. Lucas watches, holding his breath, hoping for good news. After a tense few minutes, Dr. Hayes straightens up, her expression grave. "Lucas," she begins, her voice carrying a weight that instantly fills the room with dread. "This cub is suffering from more than just physical trauma. It's been poisoned, likely from ingesting something toxic in its environment. Its condition is critical, and without immediate and aggressive treatment, I'm not sure it will survive the night." The words strike Lucas like a physical blow, the dire diagnosis echoing loudly in the silent cabin. Poisoned. The word itself is a harsh intruder, bringing with it a sense of injustice and anger. How could such a young life already be on the brink of death due to human negligence? Seeing the despair in Lucas's eyes, Dr. Hayes quickly adds, "There's still hope. I've brought antitoxins and IV fluids. We need to start treatment right away and pray it's not too late." Her voice, firm and determined, cuts through Lucas's shock, galvanizing him into action. Together, they work to administer the antitoxin, setting up a makeshift IV drip to hydrate and support the cub's frail body. The mama bear watches from the window, seeming to sense the urgency, her gaze never wavering from the fragile form of her cub. As the medicine slowly drips into the cub, Lucas finds himself praying to any deity that would listen, begging for the life in his hands to cling on. He feels strangely responsible for the little bear, even though he had nothing to do with the dire circumstances that had almost killed it. The fact that its mother had brought it to him means something to him, and he is determined not to fail any of them. Dr. Hayes monitors the cub's vital signs, her face a mask of concentration. Hours pass. The only sound in the cabin is the steady beep of the heart rate monitor and the crackling fire. Lucas and Dr. Hayes take turns caring for the cub, neither willing to rest while its life hangs in the balance. The night wears on, and the cub's condition begins to stabilize. Its breathing grows stronger, and the faintest hint of color returns to its gums. Dr. Hayes finally allows herself a small smile. It's responding to the treatment. She whispers, exhaustion and relief mingling in her voice. "We're not out of the woods yet, but this is a good sign." Lucas feels a wave of gratitude so intense it leaves him momentarily breathless. He whispers a thank you to Dr. Hayes, to the mama bear outside, to the cub for fighting so hard to stay alive. In that moment, the cabin feels like a sacred space, a tiny haven against the darkness outside. However, the tranquility of their success is abruptly interrupted. Dr. Amelia's phone rings, slicing through the quiet afternoon with an urgency that immediately sets Lucas's nerves on edge. He watches as her expression turns from one of curiosity to concern, her brow furrowing as she listens to the voice on the other end. She ends the call and turns to Lucas, her eyes reflecting the gravity of the situation. "That was the clinic," she begins, her voice laced with reluctance. "A cheetah has just been admitted. It's in critical condition, and they need me back immediately." Lucas can see the conflict written all over Dr. Amelia's face. She is torn between her duty to the wildlife she has dedicated her life to saving and the bear cub that has become a symbol of hope and resilience. "I have to go," she eventually says, her decision made though not easily. "I've stabilized the cub, and it's showing signs of recovery. "You've been an excellent caretaker, Lucas. I believe you can manage from here." The announcement sends a wave of panic through Lucas. Despite the progress they have made, the thought of handling the cub's care alone is daunting. Yet, seeing Dr. Amelia's determination to tend to another life in peril reminds him of the commitment they both share toward these creatures. "Go," Lucas finds himself saying. "I'll take care of our little fighter here. You're needed there." With a plan hastily put in place for Lucas to contact her should anything go awry, Dr. Amelia packs up her equipment and leaves for the clinic. Her departure is marked by a silent promise to return if the cub's condition changes. In the days that follow, Lucas finds himself stepping into the role with a newfound sense of purpose. He follows Dr. Amelia's instructions to the letter, monitoring the cub's diet, ensuring it stays hydrated, and providing the warmth and comfort it needs to recover fully. As he adapts to his new responsibilities, Lucas also keeps in touch with Dr. Amelia, who updates him on the cheetah's condition. It is a difficult battle, she confesses, but one that is slowly turning in their favor thanks to the immediate care they were able to provide. Dr. Amelia later returns to join Lucas, a spirit buoyed by the initial progress of the cheetah she had attended to. Seeing the cub's consciousness return, she cautions, "It's a positive sign, but recovery will be slow. It will need careful monitoring and a safe environment to regain its strength fully." The words are a sobering reminder of the journey ahead. The cub has survived the night, but its path to recovery will be long and uncertain. Lucas knows then that he is committed to seeing this through, not just for the cub, but for the wild that has somehow found its way to his doorstep, trusting him with its most precious life. As the sun rises higher, casting warm light into the cabin, Lucas steps outside to share the news with the mama bear. She is still there, the gaze fixed on him. He knows that she can't understand a word he says, but in that moment, Lucas vows to keep protecting her cub, to fight for it as she had, to honor the trust she had placed in him. The day passes in a haze of cautious optimism. Lucas and Dr. Amelia take turns feeding the cub and ensuring it stays hydrated. With each passing hour, the cub's vitality seems to return, its movements more vigorous, its cries louder. As the cub grows stronger, discussions turn to its future. "We need to start preparing for its return to the wild," Dr. Amelia states, her tone bittersweet. "It's important for it to reintegrate with its natural habitat, especially now that we know it has the strength to survive." Lucas knows she is right, but a part of him dreads the moment they will have to say goodbye. He has grown attached to the little bear, its will to live igniting a spark within him he hadn't felt in years. They decide to wait a few more days, giving the cub time to gain strength and ensuring it will be ready for the challenges of the wild. Lucas uses this time to make the necessary arrangements, consulting with local wildlife experts and preparing a safe area in the forest for the cub's release. The mama bear, ever watchful, seems to sense the impending departure. She begins to venture closer to the cabin, the visits more frequent, as if urging them to hasten their preparations. On the eve of the release, Lucas finds himself reflecting by the riverside, the journey from stranger to guardian now etched into his soul. The experience has changed him, reminding him of the delicate balance of life and the importance of coexistence with nature. The next morning dawns clear and bright, a new chapter waiting to unfold. The cub, now a bundle of energy, seems ready to take on the world. Lucas, Dr. Amelia, and the wildlife experts gather the cub securely in a transport crate. The mama bear, a silent sentinel among the trees, watches as they make their way to the release site. Lucas feels a mix of emotions, pride in what they have accomplished, sadness at the farewell, and hope for the cub's future. They have done everything possible to give it a fighting chance, and now it is time to let nature take its course. The release is a quiet affair, the crate opened to allow the cub to exit at its own pace. For a moment it hesitates, then with a brief look back, it scampers into the forest, disappearing into the underbrush. The mama bear watches from a distance, her gaze lingering on Lucas and Dr. Amelia for a moment before she follows her cub, vanishing into the green depths. Lucas stands there, watching the spot where the bears had disappeared, a sense of peace settling over him. He has played a part in the cycle of life, a reminder of the resilience of nature and the bonds that can form in the most unexpected circumstances. The forest is silent as Lucas and Dr. Amelia make their way back to the cabin, an undercurrent of satisfaction flowing between them, a shared achievement in giving the bear cub a second chance at life. Their peaceful reflection is shattered by the sound of an engine growling in the distance. As it grows closer, the unease in Lucas's stomach twists tighter. Poachers. He's heard rumors of them encroaching on the area, but to confront the threat on such a day feels like a cruel twist of fate. Lucas motions for Dr. Amelia to stay back as he approaches the source of the noise. Hidden among the trees, he spots a group of men, their intentions clear from the traps and rifles they carry. And the courses through Lucas's veins is newfound connection to the forest and its inhabitants, fueling his courage. Without a second thought, Lucas steps into the open, confronting the poachers with a firm, unwavering voice. "This area is protected. I've already called the rangers. Leave now, and you might avoid arrest." The men laugh, dismissing Lucas's threat and mocking him for defending the very animals they want to trap. Behind the bushes, Dr. Amelia fumbles with the phone, searching for the number of the ranger who had accompanied them into the woods. She wants to tell them to hurry, but also to keep the bears away from this location. They had just regained their health and freedom, and she doesn't want them to lose both again because of these poachers. In the meantime, Lucas and the criminals start arguing, their voices getting louder by the second. The poachers brandish their rifles, but Lucas doesn't seem willing to back down. He has invested days in caring for the cub, in winning its mother's trust, and he doesn't want to see them endangered again because of ignorant, cruel people. Lucas keeps arguing with the criminals until a deep rumbling growl echoes through the forest. The mama bear, drawn by the commotion, stands at the edge of the clearing, her eyes locked on the poachers. For a moment, time stands still. Then chaos erupts as the men scramble to retreat, the presence of the formidable bear enough to shatter their bravado. As quickly as they had appeared, the poachers are gone, leaving behind only the echoes of their departure. Lucas and Dr. Amelia exchange relieved glances, the adrenaline of the moment giving way to laughter. The mama bear, their unexpected ally, offers one last look before disappearing into the forest, a silent guardian returning to her domain. As the excitement of the day fades, Lucas finds himself at the riverside once more, the events of the past days replaying in his mind. The cub's rescue, its recovery, and the confrontation with the poachers had awakened something within him, a sense of purpose and a deeper understanding of the balance between humans and nature. Resolved to make a difference, Lucas decides to dedicate more of his time and resources to wildlife conservation. He will work to protect the forest and its inhabitants, ensuring that the sanctuary he has found here remains untouched for generations to come. And there you have it, the end of this beautiful story. Would you help a sick bear cub if its mother begged you to? Would you have the courage to confront armed criminals in the middle of a forest? Tell us in the comments below. Thanks for watching to the end. We'll catch you in the next video.